Go ahead.
Farm of Life family.
Hello.
It's been a while.
It's April.
It's April. It's been a long. It's April. It's been a awesome 2013 retreat season, and it's been awesome because of these people, our Scottish friends.
Our Scottish friends.
Lorna.
Hi.
And Susan. They've been absolutely amazing, and their stories are absolutely amazing. So Lorna's been our chef.
Since January.
Since January, and it's just been absolutely incredible. And Susan's come in. Let me tell you a little bit about Susan first. I have absolute gratitude for you because number one, Susan got us Mary. Hello, how you doing, Mary? I know you watch our YouTubes. Who was a really great chef
last year. She was our chef
year.
last year.
And absolutely amazing.
And she got us Lorna this year.
Yeah, and Susan had come to us, was one of our very first YouTube videos way back when. What year was that? I don't even know.
2 years ago.
2 years ago? Okay, so maybe 9 or 2010, something like that?
She was a guest in the early years, and right when we decided to buy this little camera and start doing YouTubes.
Right.
You were one of our first ones.
And also...
And in that video, we talked about you coming back to do a retreat, which is what you did this year, right?
Yeah, is absolutely what you did this year. And I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. And also, we didn't have... Mary couldn't do it this year. She emailed us and said, you know what, guys, I've got other things going on with my life, and I thought that was amazing, but we had an opening. And so we put it out there to all our Pharma Life family friends. We were like, hey, we need a chef. And of course, Susan yet again helps us out and says, you know what, I have a friend of mine. She's a very good vegetarian, raw food chef.
There she is.
Here she is. She's been with us for 3.5, 4 months. A really good friend of ours, and we're going to have a huge history together. That's for sure. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's turn and focus our attention now to this wonderful lady. Now, both of them are here, and I haven't really had a chance to talk to them. And as you guys know, Pharma Life family, I love to talk about the history. What was the turning point? Not a lot of people get into this lifestyle, and so the people that do, there's always some defining moments in a history and a story, and we'd love to hear this story. Susan, talk to us. What's your story?
Susan is, by the way, like, you are a pure raw foodist. I mean, I haven't seen you touch cooked food or even blink at it. You're really committed to raw food.
Yeah. Really committed, and obviously, and we talked about it. She's like, you know, it makes her feel really good, and I think that's amazing. Yeah. You know, if it, you love it, and if it loves you back, consider it, all the time. That's what you need to be doing. Yeah. So, all right, your story though.
Yeah, I'm just really lucky to have not had big illnesses or like a huge issue in my life. Raw food just really came to me as the next step in having tons of energy and feeling great. And it was really easy. It was overnight. So yeah, I'm one of those annoying people who kind of just managed to do it overnight with no problems.
No, did you go from like meat eating and cigarettes and like what were you doing? What were your habits?
Well, hopefully my parents aren't watching.
Don't watch, parents. You're not
Turn
allowed
it off,
to watch
Mom and Dad.
this.
No, I mean, I didn't have a crazy teenage years. I did eat meat, and I ate lots of wheat, lots of white food, beige
gluten.
Yeah, lots of beige foods. And then when I was in my teens, I smoked and drank and did things like that. But really, I was always
bad
like,
girl.
There's something more, and it didn't really do it for me. Like, I wanted more, and I wanted to feel awesome. So I went vegan and vegetarian, and that was probably like 2 or 3 years before I went raw. So I did have a pretty good foundation.
Yeah, nice transition.
Raw. Yeah,
that's good.
And then for the going raw thing, like I say, just happened overnight, and it was like I felt kind of foggy and tired on the vegan diet. Lots of rice, lots of heavy, starchy foods. Yeah. Beans and lentils. And then when I went raw, it was like someone switched the light on. It was just really fast, really quick, feeling good. So, yeah. And so that was 7 years ago.
Okay, yeah. I was just
wow, 7 years.
7 years ago. So you've been 100% raw, no, nada, for 7 years.
Not unless someone sneaked it in there and I've not noticed, but yeah. So.
God, could you imagine if someone like put some rice or some kind of like quinoa or something like that
in your lettuce?
Oh, what awful! What a terrible person that would be. Trouble. God, troubleness. Man. Okay, so you're feeling fantastic. So what did that, with energy and how it moves, your whole life's changed with your diet. Now, how have you made like a living off of that and stuff like that? Like, bring us to how that changed your life. Like, oh my God, my diet's helped me. Yeah. What am I gonna do now?
Well, for sure.
Well, yoga, right?
I'm a yoga teacher. For sure, it goes really well with yoga. I practice Ashtanga yoga every day, and I noticed that a lot of the people in that movement of people, they're kind of focusing on lots of heavy foods, and they get tired. And I seem to have quite a lot of energy, and so it goes really well with your yoga practice for sure. And then
were you doing yoga, by the way, like when you were partying still, or no? You did that when you changed? Wow. So you were doing yoga when you were still eating whatever.
Yeah.
You just
liked it. I was always trying to do a little bit of everything, but I was more drawn to the yoga. So I would go out, party all night, you know, smoke spliffs or whatever, and then still go to practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah,
like me.
Weird.
She's really good at Ashtanga yoga.
Tennis. That only catches up with you, right? After a while.
Yeah, after a while you're like, oh, this is more to it. So, and then I found my students really benefit from the raw food diet, so I would tell them about it, and I wasn't trying to make any money off of it at that point. Like, I wasn't trying to make a living. I would just tell them about it. But then once I met Borna, we've sort of started to have ideas together, and we've been hosting retreats and workshops, and I have a blog, and I'm seeing that more and more people want to know about it, so I can probably make a living out of it.
Oh, easily. Without a doubt. You just got to put that heart out there, and you have a huge one. Yeah, that's for sure.
I just want to share this with especially young people, because I feel like young people might feel like this is a boring life, you know, and it's not the fun party life, but actually I feel like I'm having more fun, and my mood isn't like yo-yoing. I have great relationships with people,
right?
So that's a great thing to share.
When did you start being a yoga instructor, right? You had to get certified and stuff like that, so.
Well, when I was 21, I went to India for 6 months, and I learned a lot then, and then I did a 2-year teacher training, so it was like 23 when I was fully certified. So it's been about the same amount of time that I've been that I've been teaching. I've been practicing yoga for about 12 years or so.
That's incredible. So Wee-Yogi, your blog.
Yeah.
So when did that start in this whole storyline, right? Because your Wee-Yogi is where you're really inspiring a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
With your written word.
It's pretty cool. Like, if you want to look at my blog, you can see right back from the day I started eating raw food. So I was blogging probably 10 years now, and so 3 years before I went raw and into my raw food life as well. So that's been quite an interesting journey to like have a diary of it.
And you got quite a few followers that you inspire.
Yeah, people ask me questions, and we chat on Facebook and stuff like that.
So how was it hosting your first retreat here?
Amazing, yeah. So I mean, that for me is like the big message that I want to get out here. 2 years ago when I came here, I had this vision of hosting a retreat here for yoga and raw food, and I mean, you know, sometimes you're like, I want to manifest this, but you don't really imagine that. Sometimes you can't imagine it actually happening. So last week when it was happening, it was just every moment was like a dream. It was super
surreal,
cool.
right? Yeah.
So happy. Yeah. So
you did it,
you guys.
And you're gonna be doing more.
Yeah, next year.
That's amazing.
But next year, Lorna and I are going to team up because we have a business starting. But we'll talk about that.
We're gonna talk about that in a second. And now I'm gonna turn to our amazing chef, Borna.
Hello.
Hello. Talk to us. History, like your story, like what got you. Now, your story, because we've talked a lot in the past 3-4 months. Your story's a lot like mine, right? So I love it. I really identify with people that, you know, things were a little destructive for a little while.
Yeah.
So take us through that. Take us through that, you know, that time period, and then, you know, that moment where you were like, man, I gotta shit or get off the pot, kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah, I remember when that happened. First thing that happened was I went to art college, where everyone was super cool and trendy, and everyone smoked roll-up cigarettes and drank heaps of alcohol, and everyone was awesome and super trendy and super cool. And I spent 3 years studying at art college, trying to find some friends, made some really good friends, but it was all very surface based. There wasn't an awful lot of heart, and so we drank a lot, we partied a lot, we went to festivals, we were young, playing around, and that's what I thought fun was, and it was great at the time. And then I decided I have to stop living like this. I was drinking too much for what was making my body feel happy, and I wasn't doing enough exercise because I had hangovers and I didn't feel good. So I was always eating to make myself feel better from my hangover, and then I was drinking when I felt better, and I thought, okay, time for something totally different.
Did you have any health problems during this time period at all?
Yeah, I was super anxious all the time. I was
Anxiety.
super, yeah, I mean, maybe not so much in the physical sense, but I was super, super anxious and just didn't feel good about myself at all. And so I decided to do something radical, and I went to Australia without really knowing why I went. And I got there and I felt the same as I did when I lived in Scotland, and I thought, damn it, it's not Scotland, it's not my friends, it's not my surroundings, it's me.
Oh, there's the aha moment.
Yeah, that was...
There's no geographical solution.
Like, damn it, I'm creating this.
You go, wherever you go, you take your stuff with you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, paradise is a state of mind, not a place.
Mm-hmm. And before I left Scotland, I was working in a cafe, and I wasn't very mentally stimulated. I was doing the same thing every day for the same people, and there was very little engagement, heart to heart. There was an awful lot of, there's your bad coffee, there's your scone. Same thing every day with no inspiration. So I changed my career when I went to Australia, and I became an English grammar teacher.
Cool.
It wasn't cool, it was really boring.
I didn't like it.
It was really boring, and I was working with lots of people who didn't really care about what they were learning. They were there for a holiday in Australia, lots of Europeans moving to the sunshine. And so this was my life, and I was going to work every day, and I was making money, and that's what the job was about. And then I was
happy.
I wasn't happy at all.
Yeah.
So I was drinking again, and partying, and hanging out with friends. And then one day I decided to take a walk through the farmers market near where I lived in Australia, and I went there every weekend, and I saw this couple on a stall, and they were squabbling, and they were a bit stressed, and I could really relate to that feeling. There was a big queue of people, which was something I was familiar with. There was frozen bananas all over the floor, and everyone was walking around with these pink and green drinks. I thought, that's so cool, those colours are so cool. And then I watched this guy with a bag and talking about almonds and milking the almond to get this milk, and he was making a joke to a woman who wasn't laughing, and he wasn't laughing, and it was just a big disaster. And I said, dude, do you want some help? He was like, no, I'm fine, I don't need help. I said, looks like you're in a mess, and I'm at a loose end, I can help. And this girl popped up behind him and was like, yes, we do need help, we need staff, we're really stressed, we're really overworked. And so I jumped behind the counter, and that was my moment, because it was a raw food stall, and they were making raw smoothies there. So from there, I got a weekend job, and I worked there 3 days a week. I quit my English job, and I was eating more raw food than I'd ever eaten in my life before. I thought I was healthy before that. I had a vegetarian, vegan diet, and I just felt great when I left work. It's the only job I've ever had where afterwards, when I leave my job, I feel better than when I started. I wasn't tired, I wasn't sluggish, I was inspired, I had good conversation, I had energy, I didn't feel tired after work. And so it just snowballed from there. And at work there was a Vitamix, which was for me mind-blowing, and I decided that from then on I'd always have a Vitamix in my life. So one night in bed I decided to start a vegan cake stall on my doorstep in Australia, and I sold cakes until I had enough money to buy a Vitamix. And then I bought a Vitamix and decided I'd take it to Scotland, and moved back to Scotland with my Vitamix and my dehydrator, and started a little raw food business. So
Ziggy's.
Yeah.
Ziggy's.
Yeah, that's where it started.
Can you talk
That's
about
amazing.
what it's like to introduce raw food into Scotland?
Well, it's really not what I thought it was. I thought I could take the model that I had learned in Australia and implement it straight into Scotland, which was a raw smoothie stall with some pizza and some cheesecake, so gourmet raw. And I tried that. It took me 9 months to get the council to accept what raw food was in Scotland. They put me in the same category as the meat guys, which is what most fast food stalls are in Scotland. So lots of the first year of starting Ziggy's wasn't about talking to people or dealing with how great raw food is for your body. It was more about being allowed to make food that you didn't cook to above 90 degrees Celsius to kill the bacteria. So that blew my mind, because I'd never really been challenged by the red tape stuff before. And so lots of the beginning was running a business, but after I got that going, I managed to get myself a stall at the farmers market, and we're based in Edinburgh. And I'm surrounded there by a guy who sells venison and another guy who sells pig rolls, and a beef stall and a fish stall and a cheese stall. And so every single stall apart from me and a chocolate stall at the market out of 50 stalls sells meat or animal produce. So this was really challenging at the beginning because I was that crazy girl at the market who was turning up in -4 degrees in ski clothing trying to sell cold food. So for lots of people that was really hard to understand at the beginning. Yeah. But for me what really works is the colours of the food. So I started to make these dips, and they were all raw, but I made them in rainbow colours, and so people are drawn to colour.
Of course they are, because that's what they are. You're loving life, that's it.
Yep, so I started to make colourful foods rather than raw food. I started with chocolate, and that worked. You know, it's the gateway into raw for lots of people.
Sure.
But colour is where it started for me, really, and that really helped to turn things around in Scotland. At my market stall, the more colourful I made the food, the more people were attracted to it, and then the more they would try it. And very quickly I got a following of people who come to my stall every week. And through the colourful food, I would sample in different places in Scotland, and that's how I met Sue. She came in one day to a health food shop when I was sampling, and we met each other, and we haven't looked back since. So once we teamed up, implementing the raw food lifestyle in Edinburgh is a lot easier when there's two of us, because we've got the ball rolling now, and there's lots of other people in Scotland who are inspired to live the way that we're living, and so it's really nice to have an opportunity to be practicing it and inspiring people how to do it.
That's incredible. Really that's incredible. First of all, your story, what I really love so much about it is you were talking about, you know, the happiness, you know, and how you were searching externally for happiness, you know, through food, through drink, through smoke when you're in Australia. And then all of a sudden you realize this really isn't true happiness. And you started to find true happiness from within at that little raw food place.
Yeah,
and when you jumped across the counter and you served, you said, you know what, let me help out. Right?
Yeah,
your heart opens, and then...
The difference between serving people who want to be served and serving people who expect to be served was huge for me. And when people enjoy what they're buying from somewhere, they want to come back. So the whole experience raises up a level and everyone feels happier.
Absolutely, absolutely. The vibration's higher, actually, when you're doing stuff like that. Because you're serving from the heart. You're not serving because, well, I have to do this.
No.
I have a paycheck, like the job that you hated, the English teacher job, right?
It's nothing to do with money. It was just to do with being around people who cared about what I cared about and who had good conversation.
That's awesome.
And enjoyed life.
And you see there's the change.
Yep.
And from that moment, it's brought you to everywhere, to meeting people that have that like-mindedness.
Yep.
And so you start your market business, right, at the what do they call it? The farmer's market, right? So you're at the farmer's market, and you got your little booth, and you're meeting like-minded people that are serving.
And they're so happy.
And that's one of them's this beautiful girl, right?
And suddenly we've got community.
Yeah, now you got community. And
so you guys have plans for a future, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you guys met up, so you've got your yoga business in Edinburgh, right? And you've got your food business. And so you guys are always probably teaming off each other, right? You're telling, you got to go to your yoga class, and you're saying you got to eat the food there, right? Have you done any retreats or anything like that?
Absolutely,
yeah. We've been doing retreats in Scotland in a place called Dunkeld, in a big mansion house.
Oh man,
it's gorgeous. The pictures are
really. I've never seen pictures. I definitely want to see it.
Yeah, Borna's food is incredible. She puts so much love into it. And people have come away really happy. So we've been a great combo, but it's always been Wee-Yogi and Ziggy's, which is kind of complicated and you know, so we wanted to
merge together.
So the idea is and of course this farm is like so many people have quit their jobs here and decided, you know what, it's a transformative place. The Pharma Life, and you guys have come here and you've decided, okay, we're going to join forces. So what's your idea? Chime in, whichever one wants to talk.
You thought of the name.
So
Twist and Sprout.
Twist and Sprout, yeah. So we've decided to focus on promoting the combination of raw food and yoga and how they support each other. So our new business is called Twist and Sprout, and the whole ethos of it is healthy living from the inside out. So starting from within yourself.
Beautiful.
And the way that we plan to execute that is just to inspire, to keep doing what we're doing, to continue practicing yoga every day and eating raw food every day, and sharing that it's easy to do even in Scotland.
Sure. So our website is www.twistandsprout.co.uk.
Twistandsprout.co.uk.
That's right. Okay. So it's not up today, but it will be up within the next 4 weeks. So if you want to hear from us sooner, you can like us on Facebook, Twist and Sprout, or you can check out my website, which is wee-yogi.co.uk, and I do a blog almost every day when the internet's working.
Now, what are you guys going to offer for Twist and Sprout? Now, I know you're doing a retreat here next year.
Yeah, we've got a retreat scheduled for the 15th of February. It might change, but that's where we're at the moment. And between now and then, we've got basically a world tour happening. So our first retreat is in May, the first weekend in May, and that's in Scotland. In Scotland.
May is probably a beautiful time there. Is that castle you're talking about? Wow, I can't wait to check that out.
Yeah, so, and the rest of the schedule will be on the website, so people can check it out there.
Nice.
Well, there you have it. Come check out these two girls.
We're going to miss you guys.
We are going to miss you guys.
We're going to miss you too.
So happy you're coming back next year.
And by the way, to kind of finish this up, these two ladies are coming back. Susan's going to be working in our greenhouse and our yoga instructor for at least 6 months out of the year, and in the other 6 months doing a great Twist and Sprout type stuff. And Lorna's going to be back probably for 3-4 months a year as our chef. And so Pharma Life and Twist and Sprout will be joining forces to change the minds, bodies, and spirit of the whole world.
Oh, Lord.
We're crazy.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you later, Pharma Life family.
Bye-bye. Big love.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.